In this video, I want to talk about the distance formula, which is a formula you can use to find the distance between 2 points on a plot. So we're going to pull this up a little bit. We're going to draw out the formula, which is d equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. At first glance, this might look a little hairy, and you might not know how am I going to remember what x is which and what y is which. In the end, it really doesn't matter. You can, as long as you're consistent with which point you're using, it should be fine. But to help you visualize it a little bit more, we're going to draw out a plot down here. Put 2 points on it, A and B, and then we know that we want to find this distance between them. We have a few options here to figure out this distance. Option 1 is to eyeball it. That looks like it's maybe 5. I don't know. Option 2 is a better option, is to make this line the hypotenuse of a right triangle, and then we can draw in the other sides here. Give our sides lengths B and A. Let me do that in blue. Then we can start seeing that we have all the letters we need for the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Alright. Next, if this is point x1, y1, and this is point x2, y2, we can figure out what these lengths are. So b is going to be equal to the differences in the x values, so x2 minus x1, and then a is going to be equal to the difference in the y values, y2 minus y1. Now, we plug these into this formula. We're going to get y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared equals c squared. Alright, so I'm going to take this, move this out of our way. Now, with a little bit of rearranging, and if we square root both sides, we're going to have that c equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Then we just basically turn this c into a d, and hey, we have our distance formula. So if you see the distance formula, don't freak out about all the x's and y's. It's basically just the Pythagorean theorem with a little extra calculation in there. Let's run through a couple examples. So the first one, we're going to have point A equals 1, 2. Point B equals 9, 17. In this example, this is going to be x1, y1. This is going to be x2, y2. So now we can plug it into our formula here. 9 minus 1 squared plus 17 minus 2 squared. D equals 8 squared plus 15 squared, which is equal to 64 plus 225. That will equal 289, which equals 17. So D equals 17 is our answer. Second example, we can clean this up. A equals 5, negative 16. B equals negative 2, 8. So even though there's some negative signs there, we can still plug everything in without any issues. So this is going to be negative 2 minus 5 all squared plus 8 minus negative 16 squared. This is going to be negative 7 squared inside the parentheses plus 8 minus a negative 16 is positive 24 squared. D equals 49 plus 576 equals the square root of 625, and that equals 25. So for our second example, the distance is 25 between points A and B.